Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Free Advice Friday. Looking forward to spending some time with you guys today and with Bob Merkel, founder, CEO, innovator. Is there any other titles that we need to put on the card, on the business card for VoiceZam? There you go, Taskmaster. So it's great to have Bob on Free Advice Friday today. Obviously, VoiceZam Player is a very popular player within the industry. I've been using it on my website for years. I know a lot of voice actors use it on their website. And I also know that every single time I have a conversation with Bob, I learn about something new that VoiceZam could do that I had no idea that VoiceZam was capable of. And it got me to thinking that there are probably a lot of underused capabilities of VoiceZam. And maybe we need to have Bob come on and walk us through some of that stuff, talk to us about some of the different things that VoiceZam can do, and of course, answer any questions that you may have if there's things that you would like to know about VoiceZam or understand how to get more out of your player or take advantage of some of the different features that VoiceZam offers. So, Bob, thank you for being here today. Looking forward to diving into this with you. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is something you said yesterday when we were meeting. I think it's a really important thing for voice actors to understand is that you've built VoiceZam for voice actors to use on our site, but that's not who your customer avatar is when you're designing VoiceZam. So talk a little bit about the distinction of a player built for voice actors but designed for producers.
Exactly. And so when I started VoiceZam as a producer or former producer, it was just so frustrating to listen to demos. And so I came up with the concept. It was read-based. And every iteration of the player, I always have in mind the final user, who is the producer. And so when we talk about how the reads play or how the demos are selected, or we talk about ZamIt, which is our search engine, it's always the producer and their workflow. Where are they? What are they doing? What are they thinking? What's in their mind? What's in their head? What are they listening for? And so a lot of that always goes, it's like serving two masters, but one's a little more important than the other. So sorry, talent, a lot of the decisions are made on behalf of the producers because you want them to hear you. And you want them to hear all the voices you have in your player. And that's how the player was designed. And so anything we do always comes to that.
Yeah. And I think it's important that we understand that is the end user. And so it makes sense that that's who it's designed for and who you're making, ultimate decisions for. So that's good to know, good to understand. So again, for those of you that are joining, if you do have a question that you would like to ask Bob about VoiceZam, about a particular feature, how something works, whatever, you feel free to type that question into the comments, and we'll watch for those to come up on the screen. And welcome Fiber, Tim, Dave, Dion, so a few people in watching already. Let's talk about tagging, because you introduced me to this yesterday. It was something that I did not know that we had the ability to do. So we'll do a screen share here. Why don't you walk us through a little bit on the Tag Buddy feature, which that blew my mind, because I mean, if you want to talk about products that have value are products that solve a problem, and tagging demos is like the bane of my existence. And so to know that there is a way that this can be done almost instantaneously, that's pretty incredible. I am totally down for that. So let's why don't you give us a little demonstration of Tag Buddy and how that works?
Well, the first thing you have to ask is why tag? Well, on a read-based system, that means every one of your reads is a separate entity. It has a title. And if it's ever going to be found in SEO or in a search engine, which I'll show you in a little bit, it has to have some specific words that associated with. So let's look at and see how that works. I'm going to share my screen. Let's go to the showcase. And here we are in Marc's showcase. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, you've got your demos and the reads are underneath. So these are the individual reads. You can play them.
Salem, Massachusetts is one.
And look at Marc went in and did some tagging. Way to go, Marc. That's good. This is a good start. But we can improve on that. and it's called Tag Buddy. And how it works is you upload a read, and then you click on Tag Buddy, and you say, let's go, and then you click it. Takes a couple seconds, and what it does, it adds tags. So it added adult, 30s, 40s, history, Salem. We can listen to this read real quick.
Salem, Massachusetts is one of the oldest communities in America. Its event-filled past is
So landmark homes, church, first church in Salem, American history. These are all important tags. You never quite know what people are going to search for to find these. And then if you upload, say, I had a couple in here I saw. Here's a new read. So all we know about it is conversational. We'll listen to it briefly.
Congratulations! You've picked out a great-looking Pergo floor, and now it's time to install it.
So let's see what Tag Buddy can do with this. Takes a few seconds as he goes on. Okay, so Pergo, laminate flooring. Somebody might be searching for flooring or flooring installation, et cetera, et cetera. So it takes away, well, this is one time when I decided that the talent is important. And so
make my life easier, Bob.
Exactly. We can make your lives easier. So sorry, producers, you don't benefit from this Tag Buddy solution. The talent does. And that's how Tag Buddy works.
These tags that are attached, are those searchable just within VoiceZam, or are those going to get indexed as because VoiceZam does have major integration with Google. I see it coming up in results, Google search results all the time. So would those tags come up in Google as well?
What's happening in Google when they index your site is those tags are being indexed. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, and Google's always a moving target. And I have a person that's dedicated to watching SEO and working on that.
Just when you think you've got it figured out, then they go and change all the rules of it again, and you got to learn a whole new system all over again. And
well, yeah, it's always changing. I mean, so many things affect that. But what I will show you is, let's go here. Sorry for the delay.
Fiber Jazz says this Tag Buddy feature is nifty. It is a pretty cool feature. And I think to a degree, because so Voice 123, for example, they want you to have all of your samples tagged in Voice 123. I'm thinking you could use Tag Buddy to tag in your VoiceZam player, but some of those tags that Tag Buddy comes up with, you could ultimately copy and paste those over onto the same demos on Voice 123, and it solves a double problem at that point too. Absolutely. Right? Just making your life easier.
Go for it. I mean, when I get up in the morning, other than producers, I do think about talent. And the idea here is, well, let me explain it this way. What gives me the most gratification as a business owner is when my clients succeed. Mm-hmm. And I mean, these are all cool things and I like that, but for someone to say, wow, that really helped me, or that really gave me an edge in the industry.
Well, speaking of which, look at this comment from Brad. Not a question, but a note of praise. Great to join you, Mark and Bob. VoiceZam has anchored my Pro Voice website for 4 years, and I can't properly express what a valuable device it's been. So there you go. Right in line with what you were just talking about. It really does make life easier. I love the fact that it just works. I don't have to question, is it going to work in this browser or that browser or this operating system or that phone or whatever. And so I like that. So you've got ZamIt loaded up here. What are you going to show us? Okay, so what you have in ZamIt is a little different approach to search engines. So we all know when you go to a search site for voice talent, there's, what demo is it? What's a gender? All these little controls and things that it drives me crazy. And so what ZamIt does is it takes it to another level where it's all what's called ad hoc. So I'll give you an example. Somebody can type in heartfelt female expert for healthcare products promotions. Mm-hmm. And if I click search, we have this. And so let's hear if it sounds...
Any love worth having.
I don't care how it looks, Justine. No.
At Regions Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oregon, although Staphylococcus lugdunensis usually, the AAP is also an established source of trust.
So here's the other thing about ZamIt that's important. ZamIt does not use your demo genre to confine it. If there's a voice out there that sounds like what I've entered
What they're
here,
asking for. Yep.
it pulls it in. And so let's do one more.
And I think
Passionate note.
this is important to note too. Like, this is how producers think, right? Like,
Exactly.
they're not just coming in and typing conversational male voice actor, right? If they're
Right.
casting a specific role or they're looking for somebody to match a certain product or a certain spec, I mean, this is how we use Google now, right? We ask Google questions and you know, we get very specific. So it's really cool to see how this actually works. Because I mean, again, see, this is another part of VoiceZam that I didn't even know was there, and this is pretty impressive actually how that works.
And if they want to, I mean, they could put commercial, male,
Yep.
and it'll come up with something a little different. Now it's going to confine itself to commercial.
Red Sox Rangers.
For those who
Brad, who is sitting here watching.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's Brad was the one who just commented on how great VoiceZam has been for his
Brad, I know.
website. So there you are, Brad. You're all over the results here on this one. That was not planned, by the way.
I accidentally opened up a different browser. Sorry about that. Let's go back to it here.
they can endure. For those who stand in the way.
Way to go, Brad.
Forget about your troubles this week.
So it looks like we got a lot of Joeys and Brads. There's
Your monthly cell phone bill from the other guys?
good old Dan here. The other thing is you can ask for experience.
Mhm.
You can get what facilities you use, the turnaround time, affiliation, union or non. We can include videos if we want.
So this brings up another point, which would be make sure that your VoiceZam profile is fully filled out with all of your capabilities. If you've added
Exactly.
Source Connect and maybe you didn't have it before, for example, you want to make sure that that has been included in your VoiceZam profile now. So that's a good point as well. Make sure everything's filled out properly.
Exactly. So those of you who are VoiceZam users, you go to business profile under account, business details, and you can fill all this in.
And I can see that I haven't done mine, so this is good. See, look at I'm being called, like I'm literally being called out live on the internet because I have Source Connect and I don't have it checked, and I have a home studio and I don't have it checked, and so this is why we do this.
Home studio, where's that? Okay, there. At least you can do the rest. I helped you out there. That's your free advice. If you want me to do the rest, you got to pay me.
They gotta pay for that. So look, but see, this is good because it's one of those things where I set my VoiceZam up account a long time ago. And I've probably only ever logged into it to update a demo or something. Never even thought about looking at some of these other aspects of the profile. So it's a good reminder to make sure that you're taking care of all the things. I want to bring up a question here. Tim had a question, so let's bring this up. It says the shape and layout of the buttons in the player doesn't fit with the style I want. So he's curious about, do I need to hire a CSS expert and experiment, or can the player be customized? How do we customize the player if we want it to have fit a specific profile on our website or whatever?
Oh, great question. So one of the things we're looking at, in fact, we're going to do it, is to have a VoiceZam page refresh. And what that means is we'll look at your site, we'll look at your player, we'll look at your styling, we'll talk to you about what you're looking for in terms of player, and we will refresh your site. And that means we'll update your player, we'll position on the page, we'll take care of all that.
Okay.
And it has an introductory price of $50. Because
Not bad.
we have guys on staff that are just like, yeah. And that gives you a refresh. And so if you're interested in that, contact me. The information isn't out there yet. This is like a secret. So contact me and you can get in the head of the queue. You get in at the beginning of the queue.
Okay.
But let me show you some players as long as we're talking about players.
Yeah, we can do that.
So let's look at, here's a player we just did for someone. And so it has some nice styling to it. We use the buttons.
With Carter Financial.
We've
I
got
like the
this
buttons.
one.
I'm a fan of the buttons.
Yeah, the buttons are great. And again, we're thinking of the producer, right? They come to
Yep.
your site and they see genres. Well, that kind of gets them in the mode of the area where they want to listen. And something I want to tell you that it's probably not going to make you happy, Talon, and that is, if a producer is coming to your site, I mean, unless they know you personally, they don't care about you as much as
Nope.
they do your voice and what
That's
they
right.
hear.
They're there for one
So
reason.
if you hide the player and it's off of your homepage, or they have to go digging for it, they're gone.
Yep.
It's
True.
like listening to the reads. Producers only listen 1, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then they keep going and keep going and keep going, which is what you want them to do, because they'll find the read that works with their project. Anyway, so if you can, keep the player up in view above the scroll, as I call it,
Yep.
when your page loads.
Yep.
So here's Paul here. He's got his player. This is more of a horizontal player.
And it looks like a totally natural, seamless integration as well.
And that's the idea, that it fits right into your site. I'll show you another one. This is more of a hybrid. You've got kind of a vertical look, but also a horizontal.
Right now,
So these customizations, are these ones that you've done for people, like they've reached out to get your help, or are these ones that, you know, they've had somebody else do some coding for them? Or
This site was actually done by, who is it? Biondo. Biondo Studio is a great design company. They do websites, and we kind of gave them the specs on how, well, there isn't much specs. They know how to fashion the player like this, and they
Okay.
put it together. Yeah.
Okay.
But now what I want to show you is something brand new. These are VoiceZam players. Yay, they look just like what's out there already.
So many of those other ones that are, you know, that just that single line and a play button, not a lot of bells and whistles. But wait, there's more.
There's more. We call it the stealth player. So when somebody clicks on it.
Okay, 10 seconds. Cut the red wire. The smell of the witch's fresh donuts was simply...
So you can still really easily jump through the reads.
You can download the read, you can download the full demo, but it's all in this nice little compact form. If you hover over it, you get the titles. If I can keep my mouse still. And then
Earth is under imminent cosmic threat. You have the information.
This one comes
Every
up.
day, PetSmart charity.
But what's built into these players, and this is super important for producers, is they hear this read.
I don't need to justify myself to
And they
you.
want-
Forever Homes.
they want to aid
Share
you.
your
Left it to me
thousands of
So
animals.
really easily jump back and forth
or
too.
anyone.
Very easy.
Yep.
And then if you click here, they all close
It's
up,
plain to
and
see.
it keeps your focus. So a lot of players, you know, they're all scattered all over, and it just kind of messes all up. So we kind of keep this clean and elegant, and keep the producer focused on you and your voice.
I love that it's still all split by reads. And I think the other thing, and I can say because I've done a little bit of casting in the past before, I'm not a producer, obviously, but if I go to a voice actor's website and I cannot download their demo, I move on.
Yep.
I need to be able, because sometimes when I'm casting, I'm like, I got a client that's waiting. I'm going to websites. I'm collecting some demos, sending them off. Yep. I don't have time to email you and ask you if you can send back an MP3 and wait for you to send back an MP3. So the fact that everything is so easily downloadable, guys, if your demos are not downloadable, this is, you got to have that functionality.
And then the other thing I'll demonstrate is when you download these, I'll download this read and this read, and
Just because your girl's deep in the hole, you're gonna call her a cheater?
okay, downloads, lots of downloads. Oops, now I gotta share this screen. Hold on. I'm still learning the ropes, folks. There we go. Here they all are. These are your downloaded reads. One of them I downloaded twice, so there's a one next to it. Kaylee Mills, Keiki Rui.
Whatever the title of that spot
Whatever
is.
the title is, yep.
Yep.
And if she was using a logo, in fact, let's go back to Marc's site here.
I love the downloadable. I need to be able to download. I love the fact that it labels things very easily as well. Because that's the other thing. You go to a voice actor's website where they're just using, you know, whatever demo player happens to be there, and you download it, and the file is like demo.mp3 or something, right? And now you're trying to figure out who is this, what demo was it, right? So the fact that when we download from VoiceZam, I love that it's got the name there. I see the logo.
So this is up now, I hope.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
good. So the great thing here is not only do you get the talent name, the title of the read, you get this great logo. And folks, I don't think a lot of VoiceZam talent. I'm talking faster than my mind can work here.
Show us how we do it. What part of our profile do we have to go into to be able to add that logo?
Super simple. You go to the same place. You go to business profile, online presence, and you drop a wide one in and a small one in. And I'll show you why that's important. I'm going to do a little search here. And oh, hey, look, Mark Scott came up.
The neighborhoods.
So I'm going to click on Marc, and I'm going to add him and Jonathan and Daniel and David and Andy. And I can look at Marc's contact information, and that's where that logo shows up.
Okay.
And it shows everything in here, all your social media. It shows your representation. And again, thinking about the producer, what do they want to do next?
Yep.
They want to contact Marc. And I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a missing component to this search engine. Did you guess it? There's no middleman.
Because I'm like, everything's there.
There's no middleman. There's no middle company going, well, you give us that audition and we'll talk. They contact you directly. In today's mentality, in today's generations,
That's huge.
The younger generations,
huge.
They want to come up and get you right away.
Yep.
They're on the button. So
I want to bring up another question here while you're showing us some stuff. Did I just hear that the search can pull in a video? Any chance of showing us how that works? So yes, you can include video. If you have it, you can include video in your players, and the video comes up in the search as well. So you want to just give us a quick walkthrough of how that works?
Exactly. Are they talking about videos in VoiceZam or in ZamIt or in both?
Yeah, I guess you can show us both. Because I'm assuming if you have them in your player, they'll come up in ZamIt as well, right?
They will.
Yep.
Do you know, I didn't see any videos in your...
I don't have any videos on mine, no. Another thing, I'm like sitting here making notes as you call me out publicly for all of the functionality of VoiceZam that I'm not using. I'm like, crap, I gotta add some videos now.
Let me get to the right tab here. We are on ZamIt. Okay, ZamIt. So let's search for... I don't think I can search for video, but it depends. It's focused on, I mean, video is important, but it's focused on the voice.
But I see you have the ability you have the checkbox there for include videos. So if you were doing one of these searches for whatever it was, yeah, teenage male voice, female for high school drama animation, that's pretty specific. See if what happens.
And include I won't videos. Know until I click on it.
If that
Yeah.
This.
Sometimes you have to.
It depends on the search. Let me just try video. Video commercial.
None of this was pre-planned. So see, if I had known what Bob was going to do, yesterday I would have put a lot more effort into updating my VoiceZam profile.
So for a limited time,
your journey.
I'm sorry. Whoever that person was, contact me and I'll show you exactly how to do it.
Can you show us how it works in the player itself?
Absolutely.
Like if you've got it on your web, you've got the player on your website and you've got videos included in your player.
Yep. Let me go to Merkel at.
Amy says, "Oh wow, I'm trying out Tag Buddy right now. Thank you so much, Bob, for all the hard work and the cool new features. VoiceZam has helped me get so much repeat business. So thank you is not enough." So there you go. See, people are using it. The Tag Buddy thing is like that was pretty awesome when you showed that to me yesterday. I was like, dang, that's good, because I know I've put like this much effort into tagging because it's so hard. It's like, what do you put? Like, I don't know. I just want to tag every read conversational because it seems like that's all anybody asks for anymore. So like, maybe if I just tag everyone conversational, I'll be good to go.
We're going to go to our go-to guy here.
Of course.
Mr. Cipriano. Where now? See, I'm losing tabs. Hold on.
I see Joe's site and his player up there now. Of course, Joe's going to have everything done properly. It's going to make me look bad now. So look at that. So it loads right within the player itself too.
So this happens to be Vimeo, so you get a little different control.
Discovery Plus is the ultimate open house. It's the place to
So you bring in external links then, Vimeo, YouTube,
Exactly.
whatever.
on Major League Fishing
Yep.
Saturday.
Let me stop this.
Okay.
And now let me go back to your showcase. If you had a video, I'd load it real quick.
I don't.
But that's okay. We
I
don't
need
have to do that.
Now I
So
got-
all you
now I
do,
got to.
here's how you load a video. You click on the plus sign. You click on video. You go over to Vimeo or YouTube and you grab the share link. We all
Okay.
know where the share link is, right?
Yep.
You drop it in here. You test it. It shows up. And there you go.
Okay.
It's
So adding it to your player is actually pretty easy. So if you've got
very easy.
samples of commercials or, other videos that you've done, it's just one more thing that you can add into your player. And I'm assuming when they're put in, they can be tagged and all that the same way.
They can be.
Okay.
It's just like it's a read. In fact, I'm going to try something here. It worked.
Stephen Blair says, did Tag Buddy when you first introduced it? So easy. Thank you. See, lots of people, big fan of Tag Buddy. I must have been living under a rock, Bob. What was going on? I was missing all this stuff.
Am I still on the showcase? Or yeah, okay. So you'll like this. I borrowed something from Joe, right? There it is. So I save it.
Okay.
We can put it up there temporarily. I save it. And where did it go? I think I put it in. Oh, it's right here. So it's offline, but you play it back.
Your new favorite.
You tag it. There's no tag buddy on video, unfortunately.
So you just have to manually tag on.
You have to yep.
So you
But what you
can
can do-
add tags. You just can't use the automation.
Yeah, you could do it. It's a violation of YouTube to take the audio away from the video and use it.
Gotcha.
Now that you know that, you could probably figure out a way to do the tag buddy.
Figure out a way to do the tag buddy. Gotcha. Okay.
Exactly. So when you put this online, then it shows up in your player.
Okay.
But I'm going to delete it so that it doesn't show up in your player.
So again, for those of you that are watching, if you've got any specific questions that you'd like to ask Bob about the VoiceZam player, about how it works, how to use a specific feature, if there's anything that you would like to dig into, don't be shy. That's what we're here for. Feel free to, if you've got a question you'd like to ask, just type it into the comments. You can put a Q up beside that when you are typing it into the comments so that it pops out on my screen. And we're certainly happy to answer any questions that you may have on the player and some of the different features and functionality that are available as part of the player. Why don't we talk a little bit about the links that you can put into the email? You want to demonstrate that?
Absolutely. Can I start just a little before that?
Sure you can.
All right, let me go back to my page here. I want to talk to people who are not part of VoiceZam yet. So what does it mean to be on VoiceZam? Well, the first thing you do is you sign up, and I just showed you how to add a video, but all you do to add your reads is you go here, you select your files, you say save, and as soon as you know it, you've got a demo here. And then the demos are in here, you title them. But let's say all you have are conventional demos, meaning one MP3 with multiple spots in it. That's real easy. We give you a way that you can upload a full demo using the Twisted Wave editor. I won't go into it because it takes a little too much time to demonstrate, but you'll get this. You go into an editor, You put a marker here, marker here, marker here, marker here, and you create regions of your reads. You say save, and you come back to your showcase, and it is all split up into individual reads. So same thing, you title it and that sort of thing.
I think a lot of producers now too, like I know I've had demos come in from Ann, from J. Michael, and from Uncle Roy and Ganguza, and I just say, can you give me VoiceZam files? And they'll send me the reads individually as well. I have to note, by the way, that Joe Cipriano just joined us on the live stream. He's watching on YouTube now. He's like, suddenly my ears were burning. It's okay, Joe. It was nothing but nice things that we were saying about you.
Hey, Joe, we were just borrowing some of your media. It never went online. I give you that disclaimer. Yeah. So when you're a new talent, then what do you do? Right. Well, now you have to get your voices out there. And that's what you were talking about. It's called a Zam link. And so you can, on every demo, there is a link right here. You click it, you give it a tracking code, which gives you analytics on what was played on this link. You can share it to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You just create a link. When you create that link, and now I got to go to a different.
Salem, Massachusetts is one of the oldest.
So you can take that link and send it out in an email. And when they click on it, it'll come to that demo and play it. That's
play that specific spot.
Right. That specific demo.
Okay.
Right. Now we have a little something different if you want to do, this is an add-on, but I'll show you how it works. Same thing. In this case, let's say somebody calls up Mark and says, hey, in your documentary, do you have anything about Elon Musk? And Mark says, well, sure. So
as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So he comes here. This is called a Zam Site. He's going to pick Elon Musk.
You just have to switch your screen there, Bob.
Oh, thank you.
There we go. Okay.
All right. So I'm on the documentary demo.
Okay.
I click on the Zam Site. I select the Elon Musk. I give it a tracking code, 1, 2, whatever. I share it as a link. When I send it to them, I switch my browser. And then it goes right to the Elon Musk read.
Okay.
Right in this. But the Zam Site is more than that. It's your entire portfolio. And here again, thinking like a producer, I listen to Elon Musk.
Controversy continues to.
I'm like, oh, wow, Mark's got commercial stuff. Let me hear that. So he clicks on
the future of television is apps.
Hey, real estate. Wow, that's kind of cool. How do I get a hold of them? Oh, I know I work with Artistic. Let's call them up. And it's all right in front of you. And the social media is here. If you want to go to his X page.
Yep.
You won't see it, but now I forgot what page I'm on. I'm on the X page. Okay.
It's really about ease of use, right? I mean, I think with anything that we do, we want to remove as many barriers as possible, because every time you make somebody take an extra step, click an extra link, go through an extra hoop, whatever, that's the more steps, the more people start to drop off. And so having the demos all in one place, having them downloaded in one place, having contact information in one place, all of that is removing barriers, which makes people more likely to want to reach out and contact you.
And it's fast. I mean, did you see how fast I did that?
Yep.
I mean,
it's all pretty quick and easy.
Well, let's say he's on the phone and he's in the car. Well, now what does he do? Well, you use, as I switch my browser again, one moment. PocketZam. This is kind of a cool tool. So you've got your phone, right?
Yep.
Somebody calls you in the car and they say, I'm looking for a read that's blah, blah, blah. You can pull over, of course. We don't want you to do it on your phone. You can bring up PocketZam. This is out there right now. And this is included in the base price.
Okay.
Just like the Zam link, just like the other ZamIt, which I showed. This is all included in the base price. So PocketZam, you select a read or a demo. You click on what you want and you share it. And out it goes, and it comes in with this cool little playlist with your logo on it and all that kind of thing. It it makes you look so professional.
Yeah.
Because you are. You should be professional and present yourself that way. So that's PocketZam.
There's a question that came up about the stealth player. Is that available now or is that coming?
It is available now.
Okay, so where do we find the code if we wanted to use the stealth player? Is that can we access that from our profile?
I'm going to show you where it will be.
Okay.
On Tuesday. So
where it will be on Tuesday. Okay, so it's coming soon. But that's what Tim wanted to know was how do I find the code for the stealth player? So coming Tuesday, Tim.
Coming Tuesday, you go to audio player, get player embed code, and it will. You go to customize your player. And so you have the vertical player, you have the horizontal player, and the stealth will be down here.
It will show down there. Okay.
Right. And when you click on it, it will give you 2 lines of code, which I think is so cool. And let me see. I wanted to demonstrate this for you.
And for those jumping in, the stealth player is literally just a simple player that still it breaks up your reads. It still makes everything downloadable, but it's just minimal real estate. Looks very similar to some of the other players that people are using right now, just that it's got a lot of other functionality, bells and whistles that are built into it.
Now, here's the cool thing about stealth and putting it on your share this tab instead. Here's the cool thing about putting this on your website, and you put 2 lines of code in and you get these players. Now they'll be a default color, but when you go and style your player inside VoiceZam, they'll update.
Okay.
But check this out. All you need to do is put it in a parent div. That gets a little technical, but everybody should know how to do this.
Then it becomes responsive.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can change the gap here if you want. You can change the styling, but it's
plain to see.
Ready to go. And so that quick, you can have the stealth player on your website.
Okay. Here's another interesting question. This one comes from Amy. She says, I have Spanish and English demos, and when showcasing them on my website, there's a big hosh-posh. She wants to know if she can have 2 players on her website, 1 English player, 1 Spanish player. I can definitely see a use case for that. Is it possible to do that?
Yeah. Well, let me qualify that. We don't allow having 2 players on the same page. And again, I'm thinking like a producer, right? Let's say if you have 5 demos, you have 5 players, boom, boom, boom. And
right.
What we want you to do is like Joe Cipriano's site here. We want you to use buttons. And let me get this over there. Buttons makes so much sense if you're a producer. So they come to Joe's site and they're doing radio imaging. Here it is. Other than other sites where you have to scroll down or search around, it's right in front of you. And when you click it, it's playing.
So then what you could do is have 2 rows of buttons, Spanish commercial, English commercial.
And a lot of people do that. Exactly.
Okay.
They can do that. Now let's take that a step further.
Okay.
Let's say you want to specifically market that page of Spanish that you have. You have some videos, you have audio. You can create another page on your site just for Spanish voiceover, and the player will come up and you can set what demo comes up first. So if you have if you have a Spanish demo, initiate the player to come up with that. You can actually style the player different on that page. You just can't put 2 other than stealth. You can't put 2 pages next to each other. 2 players.
Good to know. Here's another question that came up from Dion Marie. Is this a subscription or a one-time fee? So can you maybe we can just bring up the pricing page, or you can walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah. So I had a pricing tab. One moment.
And if you don't have VoiceZam, just mention too, if you go to voicezam.com/Marc Scott, you can sign up. You get a 30-day trial. And then if you do choose to subscribe at that point, you get a $25 credit that gets applied to your account. So that's at VoiceZam.com/Mark Scott. So walk us through the pricing structure here. Let me get this off the screen so we can see it all nice and clean.
Okay, so VoiceZam pricing for $13.95 a month, you get the player, the Zam link, ZamIt, PocketZam, and all the other features I showed you about tagging. Tagging it's a per tag cost, and I forget how much it is. It's like 5 cents, something like that. Maybe it's more. It's not. Believe me, if you're sitting there thinking and going to a thesaurus,
the amount of time that it is going to save you, it is worth it.
Exactly. So this is $13.95 a month. But what you can do, some of you VoiceZam members already, if you go to your billing and payment down here, you can make an advance payment.
You'll have to open up the other tab if you're trying to show a different tab there. There we go.
Of course they do. So you go to billing details.
Okay.
Click on that. And down here is a schedule of credits that will give you for an advance payment.
Okay.
So we don't really have an annual, but in this case, if you pay $150 in advance, we throw in 20 credits or $20. So it's like you're getting $170 worth of VoiceZam. And then monthly, we just deduct from that whatever the cost is. And Mark's cost is real high because I gave him everything. So pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. And then the other thing about pricing, let me go back to that page. Okay. So then we have these add-ons. They're $6.95 a month each, except SEO, and that's a boost for your search engine discovery. You can read more about this here. The Zam Site, which I demonstrated, where you get your full profile online.
Okay.
You get Zamtistics, which I didn't go into. It's pretty involved. But what you're basically getting is a readout of all your hits. And that's why you need to use those tracking codes. If you ever, when you create a Zam link, if you ever want to add Zamtistics, you can see those. And
so
then
if you were sending you've got let's come up with a use case. I'm reaching out to a documentary producer that I really, really want to get connected with. I can send him to markscottvoiceover.com and hope that he listens to my demo, or I could create a trackable Zam link, send it to him.
Yep.
Only he gets that link with that tracking code. So then if I went into Zamtistics, I could see whether or not he's clicked it, how many times he's actually listened to it. So in that case, I would actually be able to know, because he's the only person that got that link, he's listened to my demo or he's listened to it 3 times or whatever. Is that, am I correct in that use case?
You're exactly correct. And that's,
dang it, Bob. Now I got to use that too. I'm
Well,
learning so much here today.
Something else that Zamtistics is, it's just great to see you're being heard. It's an emotional uplift because, guys, this is a numbers game, guys and girls. This is a numbers game. You got to get your voices out there.
Yep.
And send out a Zam link. Put it on social media. Just keep pushing it out there. If you're waiting on other sites to help you, you got to take it in hand. It's really up to you. Anyway, when you see Zamtistics and people are listening, that motivates you to do more.
I mean, it can also give you, I'm guessing there's data that you can draw from that as far as, figuring out what are your most listened to demos or maybe demos that people aren't checking out as much. And is there a reason why? Maybe that demo's an older demo, or it needs to be an updated demo, or it doesn't have the right reads or something. So I think there's a lot of things that we can learn from this. Donna says, is there a way to eliminate that extra click to play on the player here in the buttons?
Here in the buttons. Oh, it's a long story. Yeah. So a few years ago, Google and Apple implemented a playback policy, an auto playback policy.
Right.
You need interaction on the player.
You can't just
auto play
stuff.
I still have Cipriano here, up here. Hey, Joe. So the good news is I come to Joe's site, and when I click, let's say click political, you click it once.
He's
Now there's been interaction on that player, and anytime
From the with Bill.
Oh, so now when you jump around,
97.5.
exactly.
okay. So that's a Google Apple thing beyond our control. We got to play within the rules that are given to us. But it's good to know that I didn't understand that was the way that worked, or that's why that was set up. So that's good to know.
The good news, there's a factor that they've introduced where you can build up credibility. And so VoiceZam is actually building up credibility that people want to hear it when they click on it. They don't want to click that extra button. So that's good.
That makes
it
sense
happened
too.
for me a lot.
Okay. Yep. So how easy is this if you are not a web developer, which most of us aren't? How easy is this if we're using a WordPress or a Wix or a Squarespace or whatever, any one of those website builders? How easy is it to get a player? Is it something we can do on our own? Do we need to hire somebody? Will VoiceZam assist with that? How does that side, the implementation side of the player, work if we want to sign up for an account and get it on our website?
So if I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right tab here. That's not the right tab. I'll actually do a quick little demonstration here. All right.
Okay.
So Mark wants to put his player on his site. He goes to get player embed code. He wants the demo buttons and the player. He copies it. He goes to his website. And this could be WordPress. It could be Wix. It could be anything. You want to look for what's called the embed widget because we're embedding code.
Yep.
You put the code in there.
And most of these, Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, et cetera, they do have the embed widget is there, and it's something that you can usually find pretty easily.
And so I just clicked run, and this is a website that tests your embedding code essentially.
Okay.
And what happens is you got your live player right here.
So it's that easy.
It's that easy. Now, beyond that, if you want to do styling, you can go into VoiceZam's customization area and you can change all the colors of these elements the way you want it. You can even change the buttons here in, I don't know, it's up here somewhere. And it does require a little CSS, but most of the styling can be done in the player and the player will look fine.
So that's just if you want to do some different, more advanced customizations. But if you're just taking the player, whether it's the horizontal, the vertical, or the stealth as of Tuesday, right?
Yep.
And you just want to embed one of those players, maybe change the colors or whatever, that can all be done. And then it's just copy and paste code. Away you go. Pretty straightforward to get done. Steven here says, I have a Squarespace site and it was super easy to load the code and get it to work. So there you go. So that's good to know.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. And I'll tell you what, I mean, if you need help with this, we have a custom development team and they're pretty cheap. They, well, not cheap, they're inexpensive. If you need some help, we can help you with that and really fairly quickly.
Okay. Good to know. Again, if you guys have any questions that you would like to ask about VoiceZam, don't be shy. This is your opportunity to talk straight to the man who created it himself and get those questions answered. Certainly some good demonstrations going on here of some of the different features and how some of it works. I mean, I know for me, what sold me was I had a different player previously, and it felt like every time there was an update to an iOS or a browser, if you didn't update that app that the player was a part of, it was a WordPress extension, I would lose my functionality temporarily, which was incredibly frustrating. I don't think in all the years that I have ever had a VoiceZam player on my site, I don't think there's ever been a time that it hasn't loaded on a phone, on a tablet, on a Mac, on a PC, in Chrome, in Safari, in Edge, like whatever. It just works, which, I mean, you said it before, and I agree completely. When somebody's coming to my website, they aren't coming to see my headshot. They're coming to listen to my demo. And so,
not right away. If they like your voice, they're going to find out all about you. So let me speak to that. So you will see players from companies who do other things. Maybe they do websites or they do custom design. They'll grab a player from WordPress, or maybe they'll kind of hodgepodge together their own player. My company is dedicated, and the developers involved in having a player that works all the time and is going to be for producers. It's a voice demo player.
Yep, that's all it does.
And so, I mean, you can use other players, but it'll never match what you have on VoiceZam. And plus all the things behind it too, all the marketing tools that we just had.
Why don't you talk? I'd like you to talk just a little bit about your production background, because I think it's important that people understand that too. Because we discussed earlier that the site is built for voice actors to go on their voiceover websites, but VoiceZam is designed for the producer.
Right.
But you've got a bit of a production background, so you have a frame of reference for what producers want, what producers are looking for. So, you know, you're not just making the stuff up like, oh, I think producers are like this or that. Like, talk a little bit about that background that helps you to determine this is what should be in it, or this is how it should work, or this is how it should look, or this is what my producer buddies are telling me, or whatever.
Yeah. So in Milwaukee, I was the creative director at an advertising company. And we actually had the Kohl's retail account at that time. And so I was in charge of video and audio. And at that time, you know, we did casting. You actually paid for auditions, if you can believe that, to have a talent to come in and audition. And worked with the writers, worked with the audio engineer, directed films for the commercials. So a lot of background in that. And that's, I mean, I'll admit this, I love the work. I mean, the film work was great. The audio work was great. Didn't like advertising. It just didn't feel like me. Right. So I went back to engineering, which was my background at that time. But I had this idea, because when I needed a talent, we had this big shelf of CDs and tapes.
Back in the day.
Yep, and you had to go find a talent and listen to the talent. And I don't know if you remember CDs.
I remember reel-to-reels, Bob. I'm old.
Oh, well, I remember that too. Yeah, load it up. But no, you'd put a CD in and you'd play a track, and it's the whole commercial demo. I mean, They missed the ball. It could have been individual.
Every spot could have been a track.
Yep. Of a read-based system.
Yep.
And it was right about that time that the internet came about, and so that's pretty much how VoiceZam came about. From my production background and my engineering background, I wrote all the code for the first VoiceZam system and the design, which is not great, but yeah, it kind of started there.
But it makes sense, right? Like now, you were so far ahead of the curve. If you think about, so it's only been in the last, less than the last year, for example, that I think that Voice123 has decided to go with really a read-based system for demos on the website, right? Because up until then, you still uploaded your commercial demo as one file, your narration demo was one file, your promo demo was one file. And now it's like every read is standalone, every read gets tagged independently, every read gets labeled independently based on what it is, because it makes it, all of that ultimately comes back to searchability, right? It's for the producer who's coming in, who's looking for something very specific. They want to do one of those searches like you showed in ZamIt. So really you were just, you know, a decade or two ahead of the curve for figuring all this stuff out. It took everybody a while to catch on, but now that's what everybody is looking for. So it's,
when you think about it, it just makes natural sense.
Yes,
it's
does.
Like, why listen to an LP that's, for younger people, that's a piece of vinyl that has grooves in it. An LP without those little track things, there's a name for them, between tracks.
Yep.
And that's really what producers were suffering through, and still are on some of these websites.
Some of them
that are still featuring conventional demos, and I just don't get it.
I know. Well, for those of you that are thinking about VoiceZam, if you want to take it for a test drive, again, if you go to voicezam.com/Marc Scott, you can sign up. You can take it for a 30-day trial, get a sense of how it works, understand some of the different features and functionality of it. If you decide at that point to subscribe, you'll get a $25 credit at the time that you subscribe. You're under no obligation, obviously, but if you do decide to subscribe, you'll get that credit. I have not regretted once having it on the site. I I love the functionality of it. And it makes sense that, especially when I see how people are searching and casting now, right? That they're not, nobody's searching for commercial demos anymore. They're searching for conversational, authentic, something, right? Like they're typing out a whole entire search string, and that's how they're looking for spots. And so if your demos are just up there as one single long, 90-second commercial file, you're potentially missing out on those opportunities, which VoiceZam gives you with the tagging and the labeling and the individual read based and all of that sort of stuff. I think the other thing that I really like about it that doesn't get talked about as much is because of how it works with read based, it's super easy to update it. Like if you book something and you're like, dang, that was a good read, right? There's still always going to be a use case for going out and having a professional commercial demo produced or an e-learning demo produced or an explainer video demo produced. But there's nothing that says when you book a really cool job that sounds really great and you get permission to use it, why can't you grab a clip from that and just upload it to your VoiceZam player? Because it doesn't mess up your demo. You can add it so super easy.
And let me make one more point about that.
Yeah.
So because it's a read-based system, and this is what made it so cool way back in the time when I thought of it. Let's say you had a demo and it had 5 60-second spots.
Mm-hmm.
How long is that demo? 3 minutes, right? That's insane. They'll always tell you 1 minute, 1 minute. But think about the VoiceZam player. You listen to the first read, and you don't, if you like it or you don't, you can skip down to the next. But let's say they really like a read that's 60 seconds long. They hear the opening, they hear the middle, they hear the close. How do you nail the brand? How are you carrying the arc of the commercial? So that's why it just makes so much sense.
I think, talking to the CEOs of the online casting sites, when I did my interview series with them on my podcast, and they talked about how more often than not, I think the data shows that people are listening to like 2 seconds, right? So if there's 100 auditions that get submitted, they're listening for 2 seconds and making a decision. Now, the ones that they like, they're going to come back to, but they're clicking through that fast. And so the idea that somebody's going to sit and you've got, 6 different demos in 6 different genres, and every one of those is a minute long. The idea that somebody's going to sit and listen to all 6 minutes of your audio now is, I just don't think it works that way anymore. And so the fact that they can just click, exactly. Find the one they like, stop, listen to it, download it, save it for later, whatever. It just makes so much more sense with how buyers' minds operate in today's marketplace.
Let me make one more comment about that. Every read is valid, unless it's like so outdated, right?
Right.
So let's say you had 40 reads in your commercial demo, 40 reads. Producers love that. They just want to click. I call it cruise control. Click, click, click. I'll tell you a story. So a talent that I know had an old read from, 3, 4, 5 years ago, down he's using VoiceZam, and down in his demo somewhere. And a producer came across it because he was running through and hired him for national spots. I mean, it was just amazing. So if a read is, within the boundary of what you call professional, even though you think, oh, it's old, it's valid. Tag it, put it out there. It'll get searched for on ZamIt. And that's what read base is all about. The granularity of what you're putting out there about yourself always helps you.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, this has been great. Thank you so much for the time that you've given us. An hour goes by fast when you're having fun and learning. I got a list of notes of things that I got to go back through when this is over. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go update my VoiceZam player. This is so bad. There's so many things that I'm missing the boat on here. So I definitely need to go back and do some updating and get some more information put in there. But thank you again, Bob. VoiceZam.com/Marc Scott if you want to sign up, get the credit. The other thing that I will say is the customer service is second to none. And I say that not just because Bob's sitting here with me live on YouTube, because this is the first time we've ever done something like this. But over the years, I have just found when I've had a problem or a question or something, I reach out, I get a response. It's always fast. It's always helpful. And that's super important as well, especially if you're new and you're trying to figure it out. There's some things there you got to figure out a little bit. It's all, I think, pretty intuitive, but it's still nice to know that there's excellent support there if you need the help along the way. So check it out, voicezam.com/Marc Scott. I know you've got some videos and tutorials and things like that if you just go straight to the regular VoiceZam site as well, so people can watch some stuff and learn a little bit more about the player and some of the different features and functionality. But thank you so much, Bob, for your time and for the amazing resource that you have created for the community, because I know that it has been a big benefit to many of us.
Well, thank you. It has certainly been my pleasure. And the clients that are out there, I love you. You know that, right? And do people go on our website. We have a support link. If you have any questions, I'll talk to you right on the phone. I am the support person. There's a reason for that. I hear the problems. I hear the things that people want to change, and I can make it happen. It's kind of an upside down model of business, but I
Probably
love
the way that more businesses should operate, though.
Exactly. But Marc, thank you. What a great time I had with you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I appreciate you coming by, and we'll see whether there's no Free Advice Friday next week because I'm going to be at Mavo, but hopefully Free Advice Friday will return after that. But as always, whatever you're doing this weekend, have fun, stay safe, and go find some leads.